And you need to, you already used, and you need to use them with your old ass. Yeah, you said. Twice on the Mama, take her to the back. You shouldn't even have me sit down with that hoe. She weird. I don't even know.
Miami nights don't whisper, they scream. What was supposed to be a glamorous birthday bash turned into pure chaos when Suki and Momma Dee went head-to-head in a showdown. Nobody saw coming. The music was loud. The drinks were flowing and the shade was flying. Momma Dee, sipping her cocktail like a queen on her throne, threw one line across the room, a line sharp enough to cut. Some women need to learn the difference between confidence and selling themselves. The entire room froze. She didn't say Suki's name. She didn't have to. Suki stood up, eyes locked, ready to fire back. Momma Dee smirked. And then came the bombshell. "I think you're acting like a prostitute." And I said what I said. Phones went up. The music dimmed. One look from Suki said it all. This wasn't about to be just a scene. This was about to be a moment. Miami wasn't ready for what came next. The night was dressed to impress. A Miami rooftop washed in gold light, palm fronds rocking in the ocean breeze like they were keeping the city's rhythm. Staff glided through the crowd with trays of champagne and bite-sized glitter. Cameras blinked like tiny stars. DJs stitched old Miami bass to new traps so the room could float above everything messy down in the streets. It was supposed to be a birthday pretty pictures, easy toasts. It's one of those episodes where everyone pretends they get along for exactly 90 minutes. But Miami rarely does pretend for long. And the room could already feel a bruise forming under the makeup. Momma Dee arrived first. In tones you could hear even when she wasn't speaking. She didn't sit at the head of the VIP table so much as crown it back straight, chin high, nails like punctuation. She knew the camera angles. She knew the temperature. She knew when to stir. Her cocktail caught the light every time she lifted it, and with each sip, the commentary warmed up. She wasn't shouting. She didn't have to. Shade travels well in rooms built for echoes. Some women need to learn the difference between confidence and selling themselves, she said, not aiming the line so much as releasing it, letting it float across the table past the centerpiece, over the shoulder of the nearest influencer, and out into the air where sentences turn into scenes. Heads followed the sentence like it was a spotlight. Nobody said Suki's name. Nobody needed to. Across the elevator lobby, the doors opened and the energy shifted a half-inch to the left. Suki stepped out like a hook, dropping on the beat, bold color, sharp silhouette, chin that didn't wobble for anyone. She didn't rush because she never rushed. She let the room catch up to her. Phones rose on instinct. The DJ flicked to a bass line that made her walk feel scored. She clocked the exits, clocked the cameras. And then, because you always sense the heat before you see the fire, she clocked Momma Dee. Sierra. 2 tables over, caught Suki's eye and gave a small warning shake of the head. Spice leaned close enough to her own glass to hide a whisper. If she said it, she wants it. Carly didn't bother to hide anything. She smiled the way people smile when they can smell a story forming. And their lipstick's already perfect for the confessional. Suki took her time crossing the floor. A hostess tried to snag her for a posed shot and got a polite hand on the forearm. A one-sec baby in a voice that never lost the silk, even when it sharpened. The birthday girl reached for a hug. Suki gave it quickly, eyes already sliding past the balloons, toward the table where the air felt too still. That stillness is always the tell rooms hold their breath when they want blood. Momma Dee didn't turn as Suki approached. She adjusted a bracelet, admired a manicure, let the suspense do the work. People like her understand that silence is a match if you strike it slow enough. When she finally lifted her face, the smile was a brand, practiced, confident, unbothered on the surface, and absolutely intentional beneath. "Well, look who decided to bless the party," she said, volume calibrated to ride just above the music. Miami's favorite self-promotion. A few nervous laughs slipped around the edges of the table. Suki stopped a step off-center, close enough to command. Not so close that anyone could call it reckless sand. Let the smile fall off her mouth. "If you got something to say," she answered, even. Almost friendly. If you weren't listening to the blade in it, we can skip the riddles. I'm right here. The birthday girl's hand fluttered like a white flag no one planned to wave. Let's just enjoy tonight, please. The room ignored her. Rooms do that when a bigger story arrives. Momma Dee leaned back. Fine. Since we're doing right here, let's do right here. She set the glass down, aligned it with the napkin as if setting a boundary, and then crossed it with her mouth. I think you're acting like a prostitute. And I said what I said. Sound left the space. The DJ, whether he meant to or not, dragged the fader down until the bass became a memory. Someone's bracelet clinked against a champagne flute, and the tiny chime carried like a church bell. Even the wind paused at the glass railing, listening. Suki didn't blink. That was the first surprise. Anger makes most people flinch. Hers made her still. She inhaled once through her nose, the kind of breath that doesn't feed fire so much as focus it, and let her eyes drag across the table from the glass to the woman behind it. You think that's cute? She said quietly. Or you think that's true? Momma Dee's shoulders lifted a fraction. If the shoe fits, wear it to the club, baby. Phones tilted higher. Producers pretended to adjust their headsets while finding better angles. A pair of men who'd come for free liquor found themselves trapped against the banquette. Wide-eyed, suddenly sober, Suki didn't look away. You've been doing interviews all week, dropping my name like it pays you rent, she said. The rhythm of someone addressing a pattern, not a moment. Talking about black fat girls like we not the reason nightclubs got budgets. Talking about good coochie like you're the city's licensing board. Her voice didn't climb. It settled, each syllable a weight. You got something to say about me? You can say it without dragging a whole culture down with it. A murmur rolled the long way around the venue. Those are the sounds rooms make when they realize they might be witnessing the line and the crossing of it. Spice set her glass aside with purpose. Sierra slid one step closer, just in case restraint needed help. Carly angled her body for a better view, chin tilted. Eyes bright, nosy, and unapologetic. Momma Dee reached for the glass again, found it empty, smiled like she'd planned that detail too. I said my piece. You know what they call a woman who cashes in on attention and then gets mad when people pay attention? She let the question sit, mean and glittering. They call her confused. A server with perfect posture tried to pass between them. Suki angled just enough to block the path, not touching, not threatening. Simply insisting that nothing and no one cut the line she was drawing. They call her booked, she said. They call her the reason half of y'all got invited to this party. The birthday girl tried again. It's my night. Y'all, please. A few pity smiles nodded toward her. The way people nod at whether they can't change. From somewhere near the entrance, a voice whispered too loudly. They finna fight. Another voice answered. Not yet. She's too calm. The city inched closer to the glass. Suki rested her fingertips on the edge of the table, nails shining like tiny warnings. Let's keep it real, she said. You've been a lot of things in your life, and you brag about most of them. Cool. Own it. But don't sit up here with a halo you bought wholesale and try to judge me for the shine I worked for. Momma Dee's smile thinned. You tried one. Try two, okay? Suki said, nodding once, as if accepting a dare. Two is, you don't talk about me like I'm not sitting 3 feet away. You don't say words you can't unsay. And you don't call me out my name in a room I walked into respectful. The wind finally remembered to move. Someone's candle gave up and went dark. The tiny puff of smoke curled like a period at the end of the sentence. Security shifted their weight, that practiced half-step that keeps distance without provoking headlines. A producer mouthed, let it breathe at a camera op and got a tiny salute for his trouble. Momma Dee matched the nod. Once sharp. Then let me be extremely respectful and extremely clear. She set both palms on the... Suki straightened. When she took her hands off the table, the linen trembled not from her touch, but from the collective exhale she controlled. Last time I'm gone, say it, she told the space between them. If you've got something to say about me, say it to me. If you've got a problem, address it without dragging every woman who looks like me, moves like me, hustles like me. Because that's not shade. That's sabotage. Silence agreed. It always agrees with the cleanest truth. Somewhere behind the bar, a bottle popped late, nervous, and nobody cheered. The DJ let the next record wait. A gull cut the night with a scream from the dark beyond the glass. As if to prove that sound still existed, Momma Dee didn't flinch. What I said is stamped. Qua. Suki nodded, almost grateful for the end point. Then so is my answer. And with the whole roof on its tiptoes. The night took one step closer to the edge. The silence after Momma Dee's bombshell wasn't empty. It was charged. The kind of silence where the air itself seems to lean forward. The DJ hadn't even touched the fader. But the music was already fading under the weight of what had just been said. Suki stood there, shoulders square, chin tilted just enough to show she wasn't folding. Not here. Not now. In the back corner, Carly slid her phone out like she'd been waiting for this moment all night. Sierra and Spice locked eyes, the kind of silent exchange that says this is about to go off. People shifted in their seats, like a crowd waiting for a storm to land. Momma Dee smiled like a woman who'd just hit her target. "What's wrong, baby?" She cooed. "Cat got your tongue." Suki laughed, but it wasn't soft. It was a sharp, dangerous laugh that made people take a step back without even realizing why. "No," she said. "I just don't argue with people who try to act holy while they're still dripping in the same dirt they judge everybody else for." A low ripple of oohs and damn rolled through the room. The cameras shifted. Producers didn't even bother hiding their grins. This was the kind of heat they built seasons on. Kirk whispered from the bar, "Somebody better get security ready." Spice folded her arms. "Security gone need backup tonight." Momma Dee leaned forward, elbows on the table, voice dropping low enough to sound personal but loud enough for everyone to hear. "Sweetheart, I've seen girls like you come and go 1,000 times. Loud, flashy, always talking about respect when they the ones giving it away." Suki's face tightened. "Say it again," she said. Not a question. A warning. "Say what?" Momma Dee taunted, lifting her glass with that sly grin. "The truth." Suki took a slow step forward. That was enough to make a few people back away. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't flailing. That made it worse. She was focused. "You don't get to talk about me like that," Suki said, voice firm. "Not tonight. Not ever. And why not?" Momma Dee shot back, smirk never leaving. "Because you're scared of what people think?" Suki shook her head slowly. "Because I earned my place. And you live off the drama you create." The crowd reacted again. It wasn't just entertainment anymore, it was personal. You could feel it. Carly whispered, "Oh, she re-inned her for filth." Suki turned slightly, addressing the room as much as Momma Dee. "It's always the loudest ones with the dirtiest hands. You talk about me like I don't know your history, like I won't remind this room who you were before you started acting brand new." That wiped the grin off Momma Dee's face. Just a flicker, but enough for everyone to see. "Oh, now she touched a nerve," Spice muttered. "Careful, baby," Momma Dee hissed. "You don't want to play with me?" Suki laughed again, louder this time. "Oh, I already am." Momma Dee slammed her glass down. The sound cut through the rooftop like a warning shot. A couple of people jumped. The birthday girl whispered, "Can y'all not ruin my night, please?" But nobody was listening to her anymore. Suki stepped up to the edge of the table. She wasn't in Momma Dee's space yet, but she was close enough that everyone felt the pull. "You love acting like you better than everybody else. But don't forget, you were out here too. So don't talk down to me like your past ain't sitting right behind you." Momma Dee rose from her seat, slowly like a snake uncoiling. The tension broke like lightning, spreading through the room. Security started edging closer, but they didn't intervene, not yet. "You got one more time to disrespect me," she said, voice low and dangerous. "One." Suki tilted her head, lips curling into a half smile. "Or what?" The crowd gasped. They weren't even breathing right anymore. Someone in the back whispered, "Oh, it's over now." Momma Dee leaned forward, eyes blazing. or I'll remind you why people still respect my name." Suki didn't step back. "Then do it." The room exploded. Not physically yet, but energy-wise, it was already on fire. Cameras zoomed in. Influencers whispered furiously into phones. And right in the center, two women who never backed down were facing off like queens of rival kingdoms. "You can't talk to me like that." Momma Dee snapped. "I just did," Suki answered. "You little." "Say it," Suki interrupted, her finger rising. Perfectly manicured and perfectly pointed. The crowd gasped again. The birthday girl was practically in tears at this point, whispering to someone, "They really do this every season." Carly bit her lip. "Nah, this one different." Suki leaned in just enough to close the last inch of space between them. "You don't run me. You don't own me. And you damn sure don't talk about me like I'm beneath you." Momma Dee's nostrils flared. "You act like a prostitute." Suki's smile vanished. There it was again. That word. That final match, for a moment, everything stopped, even the wind on the rooftop. And in that stillness, everyone knew. This wasn't just going to end with words. The world didn't move at first. It held its breath. That word hung in the air like smoke after a gunshot. Prostitute. Sharp. Ugly. Dripping with intent. Every person on that rooftop heard it. Nobody pretended not to. It wasn't just shade anymore. It was war. Suki's jaw clenched, and the small, dangerous calm that had been holding her back began to crack. One finger, still raised in warning, curled slowly into a fist at her side. The DJ's music died down completely now, not because someone turned it off, but because nobody wanted to talk over what was about to happen. Carly grabbed Sierra's arm. "Oh my God," she whispered, eyes wide. Sierra shook her head slowly. "She ain't gone walk away this time." Spice was leaning forward, elbows on the table, face serious now. This Finnegan left fast. And then Suki moved. She didn't lunge. She didn't shout. She walked slow, measured steps like someone who's already decided what's about to happen. She came to a full stop just inches away from Mama Dee. The tension snapped so tight you could hear the silence stretching. "You just messed up," Suki said softly. Her voice wasn't loud, but it cut. Momma Dee smirked, but her eyes flickered. The smallest hint of knowing she might have gone too far. "What?" "I said what I said. Don't dish it out if you can't take it, baby." "You ain't dishin'," Suki hissed. "You disrespectin'," Carly gasped. Sierra mouthed, "Oh shit." Suki's hands shot up. Slap. The sound cracked through the night. Like thunder. Sharp. Clean. Final Momma Dee's head snapped to the side. Her glass wobbled. A server flinched so hard they almost dropped a tray of champagne. The crowd erupted. Gasps, screams, phones flying up to record. She did not. Someone screamed from the back. She slapped the hell out of her. Another voice added, "Oh, it's up now." Security immediately started moving in, but they were already late. The storm had landed. Momma Dee steadied herself, slowly turning her face back toward Suki. Her lipstick was smudged on the corner of her mouth. Her pride, though, untouched. "Did you just put your hands on me?" Sierra was standing now, trying to calm Suki girl. "Breathe," she whispered, but her voice was lost in the chaos. Producers were motioning frantically to security. A couple of people from production rushed to block some camera angles, but other phones were already live streaming the moment. "Take her to the back." Someone yelled, "Security, move her." But Suki wasn't moving. Her face was blazing, voice shaking not from fear but from fury. "You talk about me like I'm beneath you. Like you ain't done worse in your day. I got receipts, baby. Don't play with me." "Oh, she going for blood?" Carly whispered. Momma Dee's smile faded now. "You better shut that little mouth before I remind this whole room who you really are." "Then remind M," Suki yelled. "I ain't scared of the truth. But can you handle yours?" That line hit like another slap. The crowd roared, some cheering, some gasping. Everyone glued to every word. Security finally stepped between them. Hands up. All right, let's calm it down, one guard said, but neither woman heard him. Momma Dee tried to push forward, but two men held her back. You've gone regret putting your hands on me, little girl. She spat. Suki leaned to the side, shouting over security. No, what I regret is sitting down and letting you talk to me like I'm nothing. It's trash. Momma Dee shot back. Loud fossil, Suki snapped. Carly screamed, "Oh my God!" Sierra grabbed Spice's arm. Spice was covering her face, laughing, but also wide-eyed. The birthday decorations might as well not have existed anymore. The cake, the candles, the champagne, all of it disappeared under the weight of two women at war. Let me go. Momma Dee barked at security. You need to calm down, one of the producers warned, voice tense. I am calm. She snapped back. But if she put her hands on me again, she don't need to. Suki interrupted. One slap was enough to remind you, I'm not the one. Security started ushering Suki toward the exit. She didn't resist, but she didn't lower her voice either. Keep my name out your mouth, she yelled. This ain't the old days, Momma Dee. You can't talk slick and walk away clean. Momma Dee was still shouting. You gon' pay for that? And you gon' keep token, Suki called over her shoulder, because that's all you ever do. As they pulled Suki out, the crowd buzzed like a live wire. Some people were clapping, some were whispering, some were already uploading their videos to Instagram. Carly turned to Spice, breathless. That wasn't no regular fight. That was real. Spice nodded slowly. Yeah, that was personal. Inside, Momma Dee stood surrounded by chaos, makeup slightly smeared, pride burning hotter than ever. She looked around the room like a general surveying a battlefield and smirked. This ain't over. She muttered, and everyone in that room knew it wasn't. Not by a long shot. The door swung behind Suki with a heavy thud. And the rooftop noise shrank to a dull, distant roar, bass gasps, the metallic scrape of chairs. Out here, the hallway smelled like cold air and lemon cleaner. Security kept a respectful distance, close enough to step in, far enough to let her have space. Suki pressed her palms against the wall, not to hold herself up, but to cool the fire thrumming in her wrists. Her hands still stung. Her cheek muscles jittered with leftover adrenaline. Camera 2. Roll. A producer whispered, trying not to disturb the fragile silence. A confessional chair had been set near a storage door backdrop, improvised. Light panel already humming. Reality TV knows how to chase the vein. Suki sat, shoulders high, eyes glassy but fierce. She blinked once, twice, then straightened the line of her dress like she was sealing herself back into armor. I've been through worse than a loudmouth and a cheap shot, she said, voice low and steady. You don't get to call me out my name and expect me to curtsy. I built this life brick by brick while folks laughed. I bled 4 rooms like that one. She ain't gonna make me small in it. She paused, breath hitching just enough to betray how hard her heart was pounding. Do I regret standing up for myself? No, I regret giving her the highlight she wanted. But you don't spit on me and think I won't reign. I'm not there anymore, the girl who swallows it for peace. I'm not her. A hair and makeup PA reached in with a tissue. Suki waved it away and dabbed her own corner lash. Pride took the wheel again. Put this on the record, she added. Respect is my love language. Play in my face and I will translate. Inside, the chaos hardened into factions. The VIP table had split like a fault line on one side, voices defending Suki's right to clap back. On the other, older heads muttering about elders and lines you don't cross. Phones glowed like campfires around, which new narratives were being forged in real time. Momma Dee refused the bathroom. No edits, she said. Settling into a confessional stool, the crew dragged to a quieter corner. Her lipstick was smudged at the edge. She left it that way. Y'all want truth? Here it is. She angled her chin to find her light, the queen, even while dented. These girls today want respect without restraint. I give advice how I see it. If she heard prostitute and felt it that deep, she handed over her phone to a PA. Open notes. The PA tapped. Suki dictated. Tonight wasn't about a slap. It was about a line. You don't get to weaponize a woman's body with your mouth and call it wisdom. I stand on mine loud, proud, and paid for. Keep my name respectful, and I'll keep my hands peaceful. Spice grinned. Caption that with a hug photo. Flip the energy. Suki nodded. Get the birthday girl. 2 minutes later, cameras captured Suki hugging the host's soft warm, eyes shining for reasons that didn't need permission. The host whispered, "Thank you for coming back." Suki whispered back, "Your night is bigger than a moment." The internet would get its slap. The show would get its arc. The birthday girl would get her episode. Meanwhile, a corridor away, Momma Dee filmed one more confessional. "Elders, correct?" "That's our job," she said, clasping her hands like a sermon beginning. "But I hear the room. Maybe the word was heavy. Maybe I could have chose better. Don't mistake that for backpedaling. It's called reflection." She winked at the lens. Some of us still do it. A field producer raised an eyebrow at that line. "We can work with reflection," she murmured to a colleague. Already storyboarding a sit-down that wouldn't explode. Then came the unavoidable mediation-controlled, timed, a negotiation of oxygen. Production split a conference room into halves with greenery and soft lamps. Staged like a peace treaty table only reality TV could love. Not tonight. Later. Paper calendars slid out, PR teams measured their breaths, and contracts remembered clauses about physical contact, language, and safe sets. Word from upstairs filtered down the grapevine. Staggered filming for the next 2 weeks. Schedules quietly reshuffled, scene lists rewritten. Crew groups chats lit up emoji storms. GIFs of fire extinguishers and then settled into the hum of professionals who've managed 1,000 storms and still showed up on time. Back under the stars, Suki finished her balcony segment, the city painting her in soft neon. "You can have history and still be wrong," she said to camera. "You can be funny and still be foul. I respect the road she walked. She gone, respect mine." She stood, breath softer now, hands relaxed. Spice squeezed her shoulder. Sierra looped an arm through hers. "Ready?" Sierra asked. "Ready," Suki answered. "I'm not letting nobody turn me into only the worst 10 seconds of my night." They moved toward a side entrance, production guiding them along the gold zone arrows taped to tile. At the threshold, Suki looked back at the sit-down happened at golden hour because reality knows lighting is part of truth. A converted gallery space wore neutral tones and quiet plants. 2 chairs faced each other with a low table between them, holding tissues that neither woman planned to touch. A mediator sat off-center, soft voice, firm eyes. The kind of person you believe even if you don't agree. Suki arrived, first denim. White tea jewelry that clicked softly when she breathed. She looked like a billboard for composure. Momma Dee arrived second, sleek, black hair immaculate, gaze straight through the lens like it owed her rent. Crew took levels. Cameras whispered. Slate clapped. The room remembered to be small. The mediator opened with breath. Inhales in, exhales out. Both women humored the ritual like it was a tax you pay on civilization. Then, do either of you want to begin? Not a second passed before Suki spoke. "I'll go." She didn't look at Momma Dee. She looked at the space between them. "There are words you don't get to use on me. Not because I'm sensitive, because I'm human. Because I'm working twice as hard to be seen as whole." That word wasn't critique. That word was a cage. I reacted. I won't pretend I didn't. I can say, I wish I didn't give the internet a clip that loud. I can also say I ain't built to let people spit on me and call it perfume. The mediator nodded, let the silence hold, then turned. "Dee." Momma Dee lifted her chin. "I am from a mouth-first generation. We talk rough, then we eat. I meant carry yourself like you worth more than clicks. I said it wrong. I will say that plain. I don't apologize for urging standards. I do apologize for making a daughter feel less than. I'm not your mama, but I'm somebody's. That counts. And don't nobody put hands on me without a conversation with my ancestors." A laugh skittered around the crew despite training. The mediator almost smiled. Okay, we have admission about word choice and admission about reaction. What do you want from each other now? Something that isn't a performance for the city, but a boundary you can carry tomorrow. Suki looked at her hands, then at Dee. Don't call me out my name. Don't dress insult like wisdom. If you critique, do it without dragging every girl who looks like me by the hair. Dee absorbed it. All right, and don't put your hands on me, ever. If you hot walk, if you mad, say mad, don't strike. She glanced at Suki's rings, then back up. You strong enough to make a point without the palm, Suki considered, then nodded. I am. They sat in that new air for a beat. The mediator leaned in. Is there anything either of you want to tell the people who will consume this like a sport? Suki answered first. Find another hero besides harm. Stop clapping hardest when we bleed. Share the clip where I hugged the birthday girl too. Dee followed. Teach your daughters that dignity don't mean silence. Teach your sons that old school ain't a license. A pause landed like a soft gavel. The mediator thanked them. Crew exhaled. Producers exchanged eyebrow lifts that roughly translated to, we got it, no hug. No forced handhold. They both stood with the unison of people who know choreography even when they don't love the song. On the way out, two things happened almost at once. Suki stepped aside so Dee could pass first. Dee met Suki's eye and dipped her head half an inch. The gestures weren't truce. They were literacy.evening hit Miami, like confetti someone forgot to sweep. The episode promo cut while the sun was still pink. 3 seconds of the slap, 2 lines of the sit down. A frame of Suki's caption, a frame of Dee's. And the city between them bridges, boats, and a skyline that doesn't pick sides. Back home? Suki slid into sweats, face bare, heart not. She watched the comments slow from a waterfall to a stream. She texted the birthday girl a voice note. Next time, I'm bringing 2 gifts, one for you. One for my temper. The reply came back with laughter. Across town, Momma Dee sat at her table again. Plantains now cold, planner now closed. She wrote on a sticky note 3 words, block letters, choose better words, and stuck it inside the front cover like a season-long reminder. Miami scrolled a little more and yawned. The ocean lapped the shore as if to say, all of this has happened before, and it will again, and you will still be here louder. Wiser, sometimes wrong, sometimes right. Always filmed, always fed, always figuring it out in public. Suki's phone vibrated one last time before she set it face down. A DM from an unknown high school girl. I don't know you, but I felt you. I'm learning boundaries. Thank you for saying the word was a cage. Suki smiled into the dark. You're welcome, baby, she whispered, as if the girl could hear her through the glass, and somewhere between the edge of the city and the edge of sleep. 2 women who refused to be small wrote their lines in ink, not perfect, not parallel, but legible enough to read in the morning light. Last night wasn't just a scene. It was a syllabus. Words can wound like hands. Boundaries aren't disrespect, they're design. Old school doesn't excuse new harm. And when a woman says that word is a cage, believe her. Suki didn't ask for war, she asked for respect. Momma Dee didn't ask for silence, she asked for standards. Somewhere between those 2 truths, Miami learned something about power, pride, and how we speak to each other when the cameras are rolling and when they're not. If you watch that slap and stopped there, rewind. Look at the after, the balcony breath, the captions, the sit down, the line drawn in ink. That's the story, not perfection. Progress, now it's your turn. Should keeping it real have limits? Where's the line between critique and cruelty? When someone calls you out your name, what's the right response? Poise, pressure, or pause? Drop your take below, but keep it smart, kind, and real. The comments are our confessional. Treat them like a room you're proud to stand in. If this episode hit you, subscribe for the full season breakdowns and uncut. Receipts. Turn on notifications so you catch the sit down and every fallout that follows. Share. This was someone who's learning to set boundaries without losing themselves. Remember, you don't owe anyone your silence. You owe yourself your name. IME will keep talking. We'll keep telling it, right? See you in the next episode where apologies meet accountability and the truth gets its turn on the mic. And the truth gets its turn on the mic.